Welcome to Radio Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. This is our weekly program featuring everything that is coming up in the area's music, arts, and entertainment scene. We will interview local artists, authors, and musicians, as well as some nationally recognized names. We will have movie discussions with the real dad, Mark Schumann, and learn etiquette tips from Catherine Michaels. This is your all-access pass, so sit back and enjoy Radio Arts and Leisure with your hosts, Sally Sanders and Steve Coulter.
Hello, I'm Steve Coulter. Welcome to HAN Arts and Leisure. I'm here with Sally Sanders and our etiquette columnist, Catherine Michaels. Thank you so much for joining us, Catherine. We're going to be talking about horror movies today with Halloween right around the corner in just 16 short days. We've got plenty of movies to talk about in our Real HAN segment. So why don't we get started with our Real Theater Picks of the Week. Sally, what are you looking forward to seeing at the end of this month?
At the end of this month, as far as Halloween movies, I'm kind of a coward when it comes to Halloween movies. So I'm looking forward to seeing It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Oh my goodness. You're really going for the light stuff.
I'm going for the light stuff. That's about...
You're not going to pop in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho or anything like that?
That's a possibility. There's an awful lot on Netflix that you can watch right now, and I've sort of been sorting through them, and one of the things that I thought I would like to see is some of the Tim Burton films.
Oh, Tim Burton is the master.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas is a great one.
Yeah, those are some good ones to get you ready for the...
The Corpse Bride, which I loved. Have you seen that one?
No.
No? Catherine and I were talking a little bit about getting children into the Halloween spirit without frightening the bejesus out of them, and trying to pick some films that would be less frightening for younger kids.
You're not going to bring the kids to see The Shining at the Prospector Theater on October 29th?
No, nor are we going to take them to see Halloween at the Ridgefield Playhouse on I think that's the 29th. But what would you suggest if you were going to take a 10-year-old?
The real family pick of the week I had was Hotel Transylvania 2, which is playing at the Prospector right now. I think the horror genre has gotten more familial over the years. I think it's more accessible to younger kids. You see Hollywood putting out more and more movies that are, I think, age appropriate, that kind of can desensitize the horror genre a little bit for that, 8 to 13-year-old demographic. So that's one I would say definitely take the kids to. But there are a lot of them, as you mentioned, on Netflix. Yet you can kind of begin to show the kids. I think one is... I was going to say Nightmare on Elm Street, but that might be a little bit
that's pretty flashy. That's
too
pretty
advanced
flashy
for that young demographic. But for the teen demographic, Nightmare on Elm Street, I know, is on Netflix. So that's a good one to get you in the mood for. Blair Witch Project is another one that I know is out there.
That's a wonderful one.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's the one where the college student film crew allegedly is making a movie out in the dark. And
the interesting part about that is it happened 15 years ago, and when it first happened, everybody thought it was real.
Yes.
And if it premiered tomorrow, everyone would know, and within a second they'd be checking their iPhone, and they would know immediately, this didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
When it premiered, it was like a documentary. And there's been a lot of different types of movies that have been like that. Paranormal Activity was sort of shot like a documentary. Yeah. And I know Danny Boyle, who we talked about last week extensively with Steve Jobs, he did 28 Days Later. That was filmed rather uniquely for a horror movie. But I think you have one that wouldn't necessarily fit the mold for a horror movie, but one that when you saw when you were younger that stood out.
Oh, yeah. A Clockwork Orange was the most frightening movie I had ever seen up till that point, and I still think it's one of the scariest movies you can see.
Is it because of the eyes when they make him watch the movies, or?
Well, it's just I think that the sense of evil in that film is just so complete, and even now when I see Malcolm McDowell on the screen and
he's
something
still
where
Alex DeLarge to this day.
Yes, there's still an edge that I feel when I see him, and that to me was just because of the psychological impact of that one. I thought it was just a really good horror film.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it that Stanley Kubrick knows how to get inside your mind. He's the real master when it comes to psychological thrillers. Catherine, what do you like? I know you're going to be talking about some Halloween etiquette later in the show. What do you like in terms of horror movies, or do you just stay away from this time of year?
Oh, I
Not for
have
you?
always stayed away from
Yeah?
them. And I'm not sure I agree with you about desensitizing children.
Yeah.
You know, I think life in general will desensitize
That's
them.
true.
So to plant terrifying images in their heads when they're little, for me, they never leave my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sally saying that Clockwork Orange lives with her.
Yeah.
The book lived, I read the book. I wouldn't see the movie because the book still lives
It's
in my
very
head.
violent, yeah.
And I must have been like 18. So I don't do it myself. I didn't ever do it with my kids.
You didn't take them to go see
I'm
Carrie
not a
or
big
something like that?
believer in scaring kids.
Yeah. Well,
Fair enough.
there is plenty
Yeah.
out there in the real world to scare them that you don't need
There
to
is.
necessarily go to the theater, but there are plenty of picks. The Real Home, as I had mentioned, 28 Days Later, Paranormal Activity, Dawn of the Dead is one. The
Yeah.
original, I like that one a lot.
How about Halloween?
Halloween, yeah. That
Uh,
one's going to be in theaters. You can go see it in the real theater.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is where Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee
Got her
Curtis is
start?
the real star of the week. She's now on Scream Queens. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
But I it sounds like an intriguing show. Have you seen it?
I did actually get to watch an episode. The girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
you know, you got to pay your due
Uh-huh.
diligence.
Okay.
But yeah, she's kind of a mainstay of this horror genre. She's every single decade. I was looking at her IMDb page. She's had a horror movie come out. She's never said no to a horror or a Halloween paycheck. I think she's done 6 of them.
And I wonder what it is about Jamie Lee Curtis that makes her such a good horror star. She seems like such a composed and calm person, not somebody that would be screaming and running
And
and
it has
flailing.
that long blade in Halloween. There's that image. I think we have it where she's just holding that long blade, and that's definitely one that stays with you. George Romero, I just mentioned the Dawn of the Dead, but Night of the Living Dead. He's kind of a mainstay director of this genre. I think those are 2 movies that really are kind of, you have to see those. Those are the kind of the hallmarks of the horror genre, but Halloween's definitely one of them as well. I think with Jamie Lee Curtis, what do you think that she does in that movie and in other movies that kind of sets her apart?
She has a stillness about her, even in the midst of all of the
Yeah.
chaos. She can be so intense. I think that's what she brings to it. I was looking at her IMDb too, and also just noticing some of the really funny movies she's been in that I've enjoyed.
Oh, I love it. Fish Called Wanda is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, yeah, and Trading Places, she was in that, and True Lies, which is
Oh
not
my
a
God,
wonderful
they're
film,
remaking
but
True Lies. Which,
Are they?
Yeah, we'll have to have a segment on the For Real coming up, but that one they are remaking, sadly.
yeah.
They're remaking everything nowadays, though.
Well, or they're doing sequels too. I mean, how many Nightmares on Elm Street are we up to at this point?
13. No, I'm just kidding. I'm throwing out a number.
I think it's 5.
But they've remade The Omen. They've remade...
More?
We're getting accused that they've redone Carrie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Omen. Pretty much every single 70s or 80s horror movie has been redone. Incredible.
One of the films that I was looking at when I was researching this is The Crow,
Yeah?
which had a lot of publicity at the time that it was being filmed because the star was killed in an accident on the set. I don't know if you remember
I
hearing
don't.
about that.
Yeah.
Brandon Lee was the star, and it's a pretty horrifying back from the dead revenge kind of film, but on the set they were using a gun with alleged blanks in it, and something misfired and he was killed in the filming of
Oh my
this-
God, what a
of
tragedy.
The Crow. The movie came out, so it has kind of a cult following just from the idea that everyone loved Brandon Lee.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that makes it doubly creepy.
You learn something new every day, right?
Uh-huh. And another one is Donnie Darko.
Ooh, I love Donnie Darko. I
Yeah.
didn't think we'd bring that one up, but yeah, that is definitely a Halloween type movie.
Yeah.
You got the bunny rabbit with the ears.
Yeah, and that's early Jake Gyllenhaal, too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a nice one.
Yeah, if you don't want to go see Everest, if you're afraid of that kind of stuff, you can sit at home and watch Donnie Darko and get scared a whole different way.
Yeah, and how about The Lady in White? That was another one. I mean, for a child, that's a really scary movie, getting locked in a school at night and seeing visions. That's Lucas Haas was in it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that one?
Lucas Haas is from Witness, right? He's the kid from
Yes,
Witness. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And he sees a girl being strangled in the cloakroom of the school.
Of course, the ultimate horror movie from school is definitely Carrie with
Yes.
Sissy Spacek. Do you guys remember seeing that or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In theaters or no?
In theater, yeah.
I think on television.
Now I have to ask, not to keep going quickly, but we are on a time clock here. Have you guys ever done a Rocky Horror Picture Show screen watching it with the
In
fans.
a theater?
Yeah.
No. Have you?
No, I never have. I
Right.
kind of want to do it this year, though.
Well,
I've heard it's an experience.
They're doing it at the Maritime Aquarium at their IMAX theater. The film isn't going to be in IMAX, but they're showing the film on the huge screen, and they're also having actors come in to reenact the play, the action in front of the film. And everyone's to come in costume, and they'll sell props. I think that's on October 29th, but it's
At the Maritime Aquarium
at the
in
Maritime
Norwalk.
Aquarium, and you can find out more about it at arts.hersemacorn.com.
And obviously, Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's the movie of the horror genre. I feel like we didn't mention it up until now, but it's that one and Psycho, I think, are
Psycho.
the Mount Rushmore 1-2 of this
Yeah,
genre.
yeah. I think Psycho, just because of that shower scene and the music from that once you've heard it, you'll never forget. It's sort of like the shark in Jaws.
Right.
You know, that music, boom.
And of course, Alfred Hitchcock wasn't just Psycho; he did The Birds too.
Another really scary film.
In case you ever.
That was a totally scary film.
Yeah, do you
So
remember
to
when
the
that one
point you
came
go
out?
outside and see a flock of birds, you
Right.
sort of want to duck and
Yeah.
hide. Yep.
Yeah.
And then finally, the For Real segment of today's show, Goosebumps, is coming out tomorrow. Can you believe they've made R.L. Stein's collection of stories into a movie with Jack Black? It almost looks too comical for words.
I can't imagine it won't be just wonderful if Jack Black's
Yeah,
in it.
you're sold on Jack Black.
I am a great fan of Jack Black. I just think he's the best, and he'll do anything he can.
Now, for me, it's like I remember reading these books, and I just think the movie looks kind of foolish, and I just can't
Really?
believe they've turned it into a movie. But I guess it will try to make some money this week at the box office. I'm sure it'll do well.
Well, I can't say that I was devoted to the books, so I'm just going
You
on.
didn't read them to your kids?
No.
Oh, come
no.
on, they're great. I love
Well,
R.L.
you know,
Stein.
my oldest kid is 40, so they may be a little bit beyond his time.
Oh, that's
so.
true. Okay. There you go. We're going to head off to our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have a boatload of this weekend's events, some horror, a little mix of music, and then we're going to do some Halloween etiquette with Catherine and the show. We'll be right back.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com. Back to school means
Football
back.
University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting applications for its 2015 camps. Our elite faculty of NFL coaches and top professionals teach position-specific on the field and in the classroom to improve your football IQ and help you reach your full potential as a player. Apply today at footballuniversity.org. Football University, where technique plus talent beats talent alone.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Welcome back to HAN's Arts and Leisure. Catherine Michaels, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
We've been in desperate need for some good etiquette advice, and with Halloween coming right around the corner, I think it's the perfect time to ask you some very important questions about how to perform this Halloween season.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start out with the first question we have, which is, we've always had Halloween parties or gone to them, but this year my children want to go trick-or-treating. And how do I prepare them for this? We're going to be going with them, but they will be going to people's doors by themselves.
This is the perfect time to remind them about the manners that you've been teaching them all along. When they get to somebody's house, they don't pound on the door, ring a doorbell once or knock once. Say trick or treat. When they're given a treat, say thank you. If somebody compliments them on their costumes, say thank you. And after they've received a treat and they're leaving, just say Happy Halloween. Remind them not to push or shove. If a treat is offered, instead of being given to them, to take one and one only. To let little kids go first, and last, not to trample on people's grass and chrysanthemums in their race to get to the next house.
Good.
Kids can do that on Halloween. They get overly excited and they can't control
can.
themselves. What about parents that are not going to be around? They're going to be out of town and there's nothing they can do about that. How do they make it clear that they're not home? Just turn off all their lights, or have a scary figure that scares off the kids, or what?
Parent or not, anybody who is in a house where there's a neighborhood that's trick-or-treating, the universal indication that you're not there to
Turn
hand
off
out
your lights.
is turn off your lights.
Okay, you're not going to leave them on.
Well, unless you really, really want to provide treats, in which case you can put treats in a basket and leave it on your front steps.
Right.
With a
For
sign
the
that
next
says,
child who comes by to
Happy
load up.
Halloween. You can say, please take only one. And that way you're still participating if you want to, even when you can't be there.
It is tough not to participate in Halloween. You kind of just feel like a kid coming up to your door and not getting any candy, even though you're not there. It kind of hurts.
And it's so much fun to see them. It's really sad when you can't be home for that.
Right.
It is fun.
So this is another question we have. Hordes of older kids trick-or-treating. And this person asks, last Halloween, a lot of older teens were trick-or-treating. I think they were too old for this. Is it okay to give them treats or not give them treats so there's enough for the younger children?
There's really no cutoff age for trick-or-treating. Usually kids stop by about the time they're 14. But if older kids come to your door, they have a costume, they show that they've tried a little bit, there's no reason not to give them a treat and realize that they're just celebrating the spirit, the spirit of the season. Also, because little kids tend to go out very, very early. They often start like at 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, they do
their
now.
bedtime is 6:30. The older kids come later, you're not going to run out of candy for the little ones.
No, and it's nice to give the older kids candy so they won't egg your house or your car.
Oh, I hate when they're like
part,
that.
yeah.
What about decorations? This one came from one of our readers. We had a question about what's too scary? Vampires, ghouls. In terms of decorations, skeletons, are they perfect? Or what would you say is the best kind of decoration for your house, especially if you have one of those older kids that are no longer going out trick-or-treating?
I think you stay away from blood and gore and
spurting blood, most
fake
importantly.
limbs and loose eyeballs,
Yeah.
things like that. A hanging skeleton, a ghost is probably okay. It's just important to remember that little children really do become genuinely frightened, and the goal of Thanksgiving or Halloween is not to frighten them. It's to help them celebrate their little happiness in trick-or-treating and be maybe a little scared, but not too scared.
Make sure they're safe above all else.
That's right.
Well, just being out in the dark is scary enough, I think, for the small ones. They find that really challenging. And going into people's houses that they don't know. You see the little ones being so shy about it.
So just to review, no eyeballs, no toes,
Right.
no loose limbs, body parts,
Well, we do.
any of that sort.
I have
That's the
to
list,
confess that in our Halloween, we always have a hand in the bucket of candy, and it's one of those battery-powered hands
and it
that just
moves.
sits there and moves, and the kids react to it very well.
Once it gets one kid, it's like everybody
Yeah, then
knows
they're
that
like,
it's not
go to the
real.
house with the hand.
Yeah, yeah, and then they come back. They know which one's yours.
Yeah. So here's a question that is about something that's fairly new, which is, I read about an organization that is recommending that everyone paint a pumpkin the color teal and put it out to show that they aren't handing out food items to protect kids with food allergies. I certainly don't want to be responsible for making a child ill, but the alternatives like stickers and glow bracelets and miniature slinkies are out of my budget range for 100 or so trick-or-treaters that we get. Should I avoid buying candy that contains peanuts, tree nuts, milk, eggs, wheat, and so forth to protect allergic ghosts and goblins, or is it better just not to hand out anything?
Well, first, the Teal Pumpkin Project, which is great, is promoted by the Food Allergy Research and Education Organization to promote inclusiveness, so that a child who has an allergy can participate in Halloween as fully as one who doesn't have an allergy. So it's a nice idea, but it's a hard thing to accomplish. If your budget, for affordability or accessibility or whatever to alternatives to food is too expensive, and it often is and can be if you get a lot of trick-or-treaters. And keep in mind too that even those items can have allergens. They can have latex, which is a huge allergy for some children.
Right.
Some moldable clay has wheat in it. So it's a hard thing to figure out. So your choices are, say, this is too much, I'm just not doing it. It's to participate just as you always would. And keep in mind that children as young as 3 who have food allergies know they have them. And they really don't. They don't eat things without checking with their parents. And that parents of children with allergies, parents with children, period, have been checking their trick-or-treat bags for decades now. Back to the days when somebody put a razor blade in an apple,
right,
to hurt a child. So parents of children with allergies are certainly checking what they have. And so it's nice to think about it. It's nice to try to be totally inclusive, but it can be hard, in which case I think you just count on the parents managing it.
Yes.
It's up to the parents in that regard, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of falls on your shoulder. It's your duty. Be aware of the allergies. Be aware of the Reese's peanut butter cups if your kid has a peanut butter allergy.
Or the
nut
latex
allergy.
masks
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
there are a
that's
lot
true,
of
the
dangers
latex
out there.
mask, yeah.
And watch out for traffic, too.
Now,
Be very careful.
Our last question has actually really nothing to do with trick-or-treating itself, but it definitely has something to do with Halloween. A lot of businesses host kind of dress-up days or wear your costume to work day, etc. Are there any guidelines for this, any etiquette that people should follow as Halloween kind of comes closer? It's 2 weeks from now, Friday the 30th, there's going to be the big costume day, I feel like, across the country in this county.
Oh, yes. If your workplace suggests that everyone wear a costume to work, even if you don't want to, do something, or you're going to be perceived as a humbug.
Uppity corporation.
Rag, yeah. Or whatever.
Too good for Halloween? Come on now.
You don't have to be Elsa, from Frozen, or do some huge elaborate costume. You could wear a big wig and just say you're a bad hair day. You could just something, a headband with a pumpkin on it, just something to show that you're participating. But there are a lot of don'ts, and the first one is don't go as your boss.
Oh, come on. I think that would be funny.
He or she would not think it was funny, and that could be problematical. Try to avoid current day political figures, because that's a little volatile.
Yeah, that could be a really hit or miss.
And how could you choose amongst all of them anyway?
It would be difficult.
So
You're right.
Trump, really?
No
I feel like Trump's going to be the most popular Halloween costume. I'm calling it now, by the way.
Okay, I think
Most
it
people will be Donald
yeah.
Trump this year, I guarantee it.
You don't actually terrify people. Even adults can get terrified, so you don't do that in your workplace all day long either. Remember,
so if you're Jack Nicholson from The Shining, don't bring in a real axe. Or anything
really.
Like that.
Yeah. Remember, you are at work, so too revealing is really not a good thing. Keep your costume a little more on the modest
no
side.
Ellie Mays or
Right. And then keep in mind too that this still is a work day. So if you wanted to go as the Tin Man, wearing cardboard boxes covered in aluminum foil,
I couldn't type.
You couldn't type.
Yeah.
So that would
be a very unproductive work day.
It would. Or if you were in a princess costume with layers and layers of tulle, that would be hard for you to type too. But otherwise, I guess it can be fun, but you should participate.
Catherine's like, I guess it could be fun if you're not dressing up and on.
Well, I will drag up my witch's hat. That will be good.
Okay.
Yeah, the witch's hat. That's perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. Catherine, as always, thank you so much for coming in and doing the etiquette with us. We've missed you.
Thank you.
It's
I
a lot of
miss
fun.
you.
Yeah. And everybody out there, have a safe Halloween. We'll be back next Thursday talking more movies.
We'll have more Halloween
Yeah,
next
more
week.
Halloween next week. I'm Steve Coulter. This is Sally Sanders and Catherine Michaels signing off. Everybody have a great weekend.